Folks, communists killed hundreds of millions of people, over 100 million conservatively. These people don't play games. They take your farm, they take your ranch, they put you in labor camps. In fact, at the end of the show, I'm going to play about 15 minutes from a British/German documentary that interviewed survivors of North Korean camps. And they do this on purpose. They have a system. And literally, I mean, I saw, and we're going to our guest, I start ranting. I saw 2 weeks ago, hardball Chris Matthews say his idol is Saul Alinsky. Saul Alinsky is called the communist. He wrote about putting us in labor camps. I mean, you've got all these rich bureaucrats saying they're going to put us in labor camps. You know, I think that's the one thing they've got over us, Mr. Bloom, is that they're so evil. They don't have a little mustache like Hitler or a mustache like Stalin. We have those archetypal images from the 50, 60 years ago that we now can't recognize our generation of tyrants because they're a bunch of lip-wristed, pansies hopping around, but they've got the police working for them and the tax man. These are dangerous people.
Yes, you hit the nail right on the head there, Alex, because it is the fact that they are so desperately plausible. They're quite urbane. These guys aren't swivel-eyed lunatics. These guys sit there and look pretty plausible. And I've got a list in front of me. Every name. Our President Broza, the President of the Parliament, was a former Maoist Communist Party in Portugal. Slim Callas, Stefan Fuel, Andris Paubags, Janek Potocnik, Algira Sameta, and so on and so forth. I've got a whole list. This isn't top secret stuff. These people are open, upfront communists and have always been, and make no apology for it. But the thing is, they are urbane, they are plausible, and of course nobody's interested from the press because the press have been bought body and soul on the BBC by people who are all, if I may use a little bit of a crudity here, they all piss in the same pot, Alex.
They certainly do. And again, I want to get your take on all of this instead of ranting myself and backing up what you're saying. Again, the public's starting to wake up to just how diabolical, and that's the word, they are diabolical. And I've seen the London Guardian and Monbiot and all of them saying it's treason to deny man-made climate change, death penalty. These guys are all against the death penalty for a child rapist or a murderer, but they love talking about arresting us and imprisoning us, and in some cases executing us if we deny their global religion of communism. Can you speak specifically to the European Union and others trying to pass more and more laws to restrict free speech?
Yes, it's interesting that the British system and the American system is extremely similar, is that we don't have a prescriptive legislative system. Basically, if a free-born Englishman, an American, pretty well do what they like if it isn't actually banned by law. Now, I mentioned this on your last show. When I was on the show last, you very kindly invited me. The Corpus Juris system, or sometimes known as the Napoleonic Code, tells the citizen that which he may do. And that is a fundamental change. So they have a rule book to say this is what you may do, this is what you may not do. So consequently, they always have the upper hand. The legal system always has the upper hand. And of course, if you look at that prescriptive system and you see that over 50% of all the commissars who actually head up the bureaucracies of the European Union, and 75% of our laws of all countries, not just Great Britain, all countries, are made by the place from which I'm speaking at the moment, this is how we're totally and utterly wrapped up. And people just don't know and don't understand that these characters are dominating every aspect of their lives.
And again, just briefly for those that don't understand this European Union bureaucracy, because they're setting up a similar quasi-governmental one, more of a corporate brand of it here with all this bureaucratic power. You're in France right now. Describe the different capitals and different bureaucracies and how was the power originally vested to these unelected pirates I mean, explain that in a nutshell for people, please, sir.
Well, it's really sort of mission creep, as it were. Legislation has come about since 1975, for example, where we said there was a referendum in 1975 in the United Kingdom, and we were told that it was a free trade zone. And a lot of people voted for it on that basis. It was free trade. And almost every 2 years since, there's been another treaty which has pushed it slowly but surely and relentlessly to a superstate that we have now, run by committees. The committees form the law, and of course one of the sad things that we've lost in the United Kingdom, this is something that it's happening to you, I believe this is happening to you, is that we have lost our system of common law. We're now run by quangos. The United Kingdom is quango. I'm not sure whether that word is familiar in America.
Well, it's administrative law where the bureaucracy just churns out new rules with no statutory force behind them.
That's exactly right, and the powers that they have are extraordinary. Let me give an example: the Financial Service Authority in London. They can virtually kick down your door, they can close your business, they can do exactly as they like. There is no redress. You can't come back and say, you ruined my family's investment advisor practice with your shenanigans. There's no comeback, and it's the same with DEFRA, which is our agricultural enforcement agency. And we have a number of these agencies. So the law has been completely suspended. And of course, common law was a great thing. We gave a lot of the free world a magnificent legal system, not perfect. I'm not pretending it's perfect. It never was, but a pretty good one, all of which has now gone. And of course, if you take away the law, you take away the rights of the individual, and that's what's happened. But it hasn't happened in one bite-sized chunk. They weren't that stupid. They're not stupid enough to do it in a bite-sized chunk.
In the BBC, of all places, they've had Bilderberg Group members like Healy and others brag in the last 2 years, hey, guess what? 1957, Treaty of Rome, we established the European Union. We did it by stealth, and that's why at the 50th anniversary in 2007, it was the 50th anniversary. It wasn't the 7th anniversary when they announced it in 2000. They said, ha-ha, we set this up 50 years ago. Now 53 years ago, in your face. And when Judicial Watch sued 3 years ago, this is my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, when they sued, they got the internal SPP documents with Bush and everybody else meeting and this council of private corporations and bureaucrats. And the first order of business was North American integration by stealth through trade and security agreements. And so this is a dishonest conquest by a bureaucratic class funded by select monopoly capitalists who are not free market, who kind of dump communists and collectivists out to steal the middle class's wealth and then transfer it to them. I mean, this is truly a criminal enterprise. And then we look at and I want you to comment on that. This is the same model. We've been in the North American Union since 2005. We have the documents. The general public doesn't even know. You've been in your EU, at least on paper, since 57. They didn't tell you it was happening until 99, 2000. And then expanding out from there, we defeat Copenhagen. The countries don't sign on to it. And Gordon Brown and Barack Obama and the EU say, don't worry. Herman von Rompuy, they say, don't worry. We already had this power. We're going to start registering everybody's carbon globally. And we're going to take U.S., British, and European tax money and start shoveling it into this global government, calling it global government. I mean, this is a completely illegitimate criminal enterprise.
Yes, you're absolutely right. We recruit in the United Kingdom. There's a subversive group called Common Purpose. It's a sort of Freemasonry with a small f. So these guys are recruited at universities. They're spotted at universities, and they've been brought into the civil service systems, the BBC, and they've got their own style of jargon, their own sort of semi-secret handshakes. So they all sing off the same hymn sheet, and they are the people that actually who would normally we would expect in our legal systems, in our political systems, in our civil service systems to be protecting us from these things by using our constitution. These are the people that have actually been subverted. And let me give you an example which I think will surprise you and surprise your listeners on both sides of the Atlantic. I'm also a member of the Environmental Committee. And bear in mind, I re-won my seat in June, so by a very significant margin, with an increased majority. Now, I'm not an important man in British politics, and I don't pretend to be, but I'm not totally insignificant. I wrote privately to the Prince of Wales, who believes all this carbon dioxide nonsense, bless his cotton socks. And he believes all this. And I wrote to him personally as an elected representative, a re-elected representative,